Good day! The Philippines has over 7,000 islands and we Filipinos should consider going into farming without a farm. Can you farm without a farm? Well, we'll be talking about that in BusinessMirror's Freshly Brewed. Like great coffee to savor, Freshly Brewed tells compelling stories through the interaction between the most interesting people and BusinessMirror's roster of journalist hosts, discussing the hot issues of the day or topics still unfolding or brewing. Yes, it is possible to farm without a farm because our guest today will be talking about going into aquaculture through a technology where you farm more fish than water. Isn't that interesting? Let's listen into this conversation between Dr. Arlyn Arreglado Mandas, an aquaculture expert who has her own fish farm and consultancy firm, and our host for today, Bless Aubrey Ogerio, BusinessMirror's science reporter.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Freshly Brewed. I am Bless Ogerio, a science reporter for BusinessMirror and your host. Today, we are talking about an idea that flips traditional farming on its head and how we Filipinos can get into aquaculture even with limited space or resources. Joining us is someone who's at the forefront of this movement. Please welcome Dr. Arlyn Arreglado Mandas, an aquaculture consultant, educator, and business owner based in General Santos City. Hello, Doc Mandas.
Hi! Hello, Bless.
Kumusta po kayo?
Mabuti. Medyo hectic yung schedule because nagkaroon kami ng strategic planning for the catfish industry.
Yes po, pero okay naman po kayo ngayon.
Yes, okay. At siguradong mamimiss ko yung flight ko. But it's worth to be here.
Yes po. Thank you for joining us today, Doc. Let's start with a bit of your story po, no? So, you've been in aquaculture for quite some time po, no? So, where did your interest in fish farming begin po? I'm curious.
Well, when first is that my course was BS Fisheries when I was in college, and then I took masters, and then I went to UP Visayas to enroll in PhD in fisheries. So basically, yung aking background, fisheries or aquaculture, and I taught in the university, so Mindanao State University for almost 25 years. So just one semester, magiging 25 years na siya. So I was teaching aquaculture students. So right from the very start, well, when I started studying in MSU, I didn't really like my course. So I hate it, but it's just because of the scholarship that I enrolled in fisheries. But later on, I started to love my course. So I love it in the sense that I know that I can do a lot for this field.
Parang ang unexpected po na hindi nyo siya talaga first choice. Then along the way na natutunan nyo siyang mahalin, naging passion nyo siya ngayon. And now you have started working with DOST for their agricultural productivity programs in regions 11 and 12. So I would like to know, ma'am, what exactly did your work involve and what kind of farmers or communities were you working with?
Yeah, of course. So I would like to thank the government that it has its Department of Science and Technology, specifically yung kanilang Consultancy for Agricultural Productivity Enhancement Program, wherein the very purpose of that program is to improve the productivity of the farmers, fish farmers in particular. So what we do, the DOST pays me, so and then I'm being brought to the farms, the beneficiaries of that program, for free. So the farmers get to avail of a consultant like me, and then they have no obligation in terms of paying me for my expertise. But it's the DOST who pays me. So what is it for the people? So it's so expensive to hire a consultant. But because of that program of the government, then even if you are a small farmer, you can avail of a consultant so that your productivity will increase.
Again, naging science for the people po talaga itong ginagawa natin. So, after years of consulting, ma'am, you eventually opened your own firm and then your own fish farm. So, what made you take that step po? Yung sa Saxonylin Sai Fish Farm, correct po ba?
Yes. Before I went for my PhD sa UP Visayas, working as a consultant of DOST, we were working with the catfish industry. And of course, during my time also as a professor in the university, I was bringing my students in these farms. And I myself promised to myself that I'll never eat catfish.
Ay.
I'll never eat catfish because with due respect to the farmers, but
Bakit
people,
po?
people have this negative impression about catfish that
What
is
about-
dirty.
what
Because
about-
the farming system is so unhygienic. When you visit catfish farms, you will really throw up. Because if you have mahina yung magsusuka ka talaga dahil marumi. That's a problem with the catfish industry. It's been long time, but for me, masasabi kong hindi pa siya naka-take off. And catfish, as a commodity, for me sa pagkakakilala ko ng catfish, with the depth of the knowledge that I have with catfish, it's like gold na sinisipa-sipa lang natin. Yeah. So that's why, naisip ko na pag-aralan yung catfish and then come up with a technology na ma-address natin yung negative perception sa catfish na it's a fish that is dirty, na hindi dapat kainin ng tao.
So, doon na po talaga yung naging focus ng innovation na ginawa ninyo, ma'am, sa hito na po
Yes.
talaga nakafocus.
Opo.
Okay. So, inintroduce nyo rin po itong concept ng more fish than water, which really goes against the usual image na meron po tayo sa wide fish ponds or cages. So, can you tell us more po about this technology and how does it work? How is it different from traditional fish farming? Ganun po.
Yeah. Actually, the more fish than water technology is my tool. It's a tool of my farming concept, which is farming without a farm. When you look at the statistics, you will know that in the total number of households in the Philippines, there's more than 80% of the total of the households, wala silang farm. Kumbaga pa, limited lang masyado yung mga Filipinos na mayroong farm na pwedeng sakahin. And also, aside from that, meron na tayong, di ba, we know for a fact that the population is expanding and then the area for food production is shrinking. So, sabi ko, I have to come up with a concept that would, utilize yung mga small portions sa ating mga bahay. Kasi kung more than 80+% ang walang farm, but definitely, majority of this 80+% or all of them, meron silang house and lot. So, kung may house and lot sila, meron silang lote, so I would like to come up with a technology. So, mangyayari yung farming without a farm if I come up with a technology that would allow these households to grow fish in a limited space. So, hindi naman kasi pwedeng isang space, maglalagay ka lang ng 20 to 40 piraso. Ang gusto ko kasi, pagkakakitaan talaga, livelihood. So, I did my R&D while doing my farming because when I started my farm, I didn't do it sa mga tanks na ganito. So, I did it doon sa mga mud ponds. So, if you do the culture in mud ponds, you must have malaking area. And that is, again, as I mentioned earlier, walang ganun yung mga Filipinos.
Opo.
Okay? So, ang gusto kong gamitin nila, yung mga spare spaces sa kanilang gilid ng bahay, turn it into a fish production area with the use of my more fish than water technology. Now, you ask me, how does it work? Well, first, the water in my tank. So, first is, it's composed of a tank, water, fish, and then a feed that is halal because I'm coming up with halal catfish.
Yes po.
So
And
that-
you're from, ano din po, no? Jensen din po. So
Yeah.
that is one thing that you have considered.
Yes, because a lot of Muslims there, they love to eat catfish. And I want to provide them with a non-haram
Yes,
fish.
that is considerate din po talaga, ma'am.
Yes, opo. So, in that small area, like less than 2 cubic meters, conventionally,
Ma'am, pwede po patansya, gaano po kalaki yung 2 cubic meters? Paano po
yeah,
yun?
my tank is, the fiberglass tank is 1.5 meter in diameter. So, if this is the tank, from here to there, it's 1.5 meter.
Wow, okay
Diameter.
po. Malaki din.
And then the height of it is 1.2. And then this tank, the water in it, if you do the culture in conventional way, like do it in the mud pond, you can only harvest 20 to 40 pieces. You can only stack, stack and harvest very few kilograms. But in my case, I can harvest half a ton of fish.
Okay.
So it's like 1,000 and 1,000 increase in the stocking density and in the production. So if that's the case, then if the household has only like 5 square meter area, meron na siyang 5 ganito. Toni-tonelada na yung pwede niyang ma-harvest.
Po.
So, ganun yun siya, napakadaling gawin. Pwede, actually, when I develop my technology, ang nasa mind ko talaga yung mga retired, but not yet tired. Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, pag matanda ka na, parang napaka-unproductive, nakafocus sa mga sakit-sakit, yung ating mga old folks.
Grabe.
Oo, kasi napaka-entertaining, napaka-therapeutic yung pagpapakain. And then, another thing is, gusto kong ma-address din yung mga kabataan. Kasi yung mga kabataan kasi, pagdating galing sa school, gadgets. So, gusto ko silang maturuan at a very early stage na i-love nila yung fish farming, yung food production. Kasi yan yung wala ako when I enrolled in fisheries. Wala akong idea what is fisheries, so hindi ko siya na-love. Later na. So, I want that the kids would love it kasi napaka-entertaining yung pag-culture dun sa more fish than water technology at
Yes po.
napakadali.
Yes po, ma'am. Another thing that I would like to explore is, ayun nga po, you mentioned yung about sa mga kabataan. Since Generation Z and Gen Alpha, and marami sa kanila ang hindi na-eengganyo masyado sa farming kasi aside nga po sa kulang yung mga spaces natin for that is parang hindi sila na-eengganyo sa mismong thought na yon. And I think the DOST has been actively working of making it more engaging po para sa mga kabataan natin. For you, ma'am, ano pong mga maisasuggest ninyong ways, in your own little ways po or kahit sa government para mas maging nakakaengganyo po ang pagfo-farming para sa ating mga kabataan po, na para mas ma-engage sila sa ganitong klaseng activity, para hindi lang po linear or boring yung tingin nila doon sa hobby na yon, kasi nga po very innovative sana, very promising, pero kulang sa engagement. Ano po yung mga pwede natin gawin with that?
I have a very good story to tell you about that related to the question. There was this doctor who visited my farm with a kid, 11-year-old son of her.
Very young.
Yeah, very young. And then, while we were having coffee sa farm, yung bata, paikot-ikot dun sa tangke, nagpapakain siya.
Wow.
And then, you know what she told his mom when they got home? Mom, I want my trust fund. I want to buy tanks. And immediately, the mom bought tanks for the boy. And then, alam mo, pagkagaling sa eskwela, diretso siya doon. And then, meron siyang 4 na tangke ngayon. Alam mo yung nag-harvest kami, napakabilis lumaki nung kanyang mga isda. 2 months and a half kilo, 600 grams, 700 grams.
Wow, na-pick up niya agad, marunong
Na-pick up
agad.
niya. And then at the start, kasi family of doctors sila, medical doctors. So, alam mo, nung pumunta kami sa kanila para i-harvest yung fish, alam sabi niya sa akin, Tita, I'll not be a doctor of human, I'll be a doctor of fish.
Wow, vetmed
so, yan yung
pala.
sinabi niya sa akin. No, because I was encouraging him to be a fishery scientist. Kasi kukunti lang yung mga fishery scientists sa Pilipinas. So, with that story, makikita natin, kasi yung tangke natin, hindi pahirap sa mga tao na mag-operate. So, ang advice ko sa government, if the government will come up with technologies, make it easier to operate, yung para bang fun to operate, mga ganon, para hindi isipin ng mga bata, pag once it's about aquaculture, it's about agriculture, it's really hard, you will get dirty, you will hindi dapat ganon. Kaya nga nung, I'm national finalist for Gawad Saka. Anong nagkita-kita kami, mga lalaki yung aking katunggali. So, 3 kami sa Pilipinas. Nung pagkakita nila sa akin, sabi nila, ay, hindi naman yata farming contest ang sinalihan mo Sabi ganon sa akin kasi, bakit ang ganda-ganda mo? Ay, naman naka-gown ako noon, naka-makeup ako.
Ang tawag po dyan, women in STEM field.
Yeah, sabi
women in male-dominated field.
Yes, sabi ko sa kanila, hindi na po ganyan dapat ang perception natin kapag ka-farmer. Ang farmer can be this beautiful. Sabi ko gano'n, can be this, hindi na kailangan na putikan ka or whatever, marumi ka. Kasi ngayon, pag maganda yung technology, pwede lang na napaka-entertaining, napaka-saya, napakadali yung fish production or food production.
Yan din po yung nire-raise ng government natin and ng DOST, na sa mga schools and education field na magkaroon ng more practical activities, no? Kasi po yung sa mga bata nga po, kapag more on textbook concept or within classroom lang po napapag-aralan yung about sa farming, about sa fish, about agriculture, nagsistay lang siya as a thought sa mind Hindi, paano kapag napuput into practice, 'di ba? Parang di mo namamalayan, nagiging engaging na pala sa kanila, na-enjoy pala nila yung hobby na yun. So, very appreciated po yung naging story nyo doon about sa 11-year-old kid na nagkaroon ng interest sa fishing. Now, let's tweak a little bit naman po regarding dun sa fish farming. So, you've chosen to focus on hito or catfish po, which is an interesting choice given your explanation earlier, Doc. I'm just curious na bakit hindi po more on sa mga common like bangus or tilapia?
That's a very good question kasi ganito yan. Sa lahat ng mga fish, okay, so mga aquatic organisms, they breathe through their gills. So because of that, kailangan yung oxygen ma-dissolve sa water. And then itong dissolved oxygen is napaka-limiting sa water. That's the reason why once you culture fish, like milkfish or tilapia, kukunti lang talaga ang pwede mong mailagay per cubic meter. Pag naglagay ka ng marami, you have to spend for aeration. And that's additional expense.
Define aeration, ma'am?
Yung naglalagay tayo ng mga life support system para mag-produce ng dissolved oxygen sa water.
Yes.
Actually, it's to agitate the water so that atmospheric oxygen could enter into the water and gets dissolved. And that's how the fish can use it. In the case of catfish, aside from their gills, meron pa silang additional breathing organ. And that is the arborescent organ that they have.
Saan po yun banda, ma'am?
Serving like lungs. Kung nakahiwa na kayo ng catfish, yung parang, tawag nun, it's a white material na para siyang sponge.
Wow.
Yun siya ang dahilan na pwede tayong mag-stock ng marami masyadong catfish. Like, in my tank, instead of stocking 30 to 40, you can stock 1,200.
Dami.
At walang aeration yon, walang life support system.
As is lang po na may water.
As is lang siya. And then, the catfish as a fish, para bang ang kanyang health benefits, ang kanyang nutritional benefits, napakaganda. Like for example, when I describe catfish, it's like you eating your medicine. Di ba yung sabi ni Hippocrates, let thy food be thy medicine. Kasi if you are eating pork, beef, or chicken, you enjoy its taste, but at the back of your mind, you're thinking about your health issues, cholesterol, blah, 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 ganon. Pero once you eat catfish, it's more omega-3. Yung fat ng catfish, it's more omega-3.
What are the benefits of omega-3 nga po?
It's good for the heart. It prevents cardiovascular diseases. It prevents stroke. And then for women, it prevents breast cancer. At ang isa pang pinakamaganda sa catfish, ang taas-taas ng DHA.
Which is?
Yan yung nagpapamahal sa mga mamahaling mga milk formula. Kasi yung DHA is a fatty acid that is important for brain development.
Yes.
So I can foresee a smarter generation kapag pinakain natin ng catfish at other fishes yung mga kabataan. Pag naging fish-based yung kanilang pagkain.
Yes po. But starting any kind of cost sa farm, it always comes with a gastos din po, So what kind of investment naman po does hito farming require, both in terms of money and materials? Like what size of space is ideal?
Yeah. So in our case, if you take our technology, yung more fish than water technology, we will supply you everything. We will give you the capitalization, and I always advise start with the 4 tanks. Kasi at the end of first month, we will do sorting of fish, and then we need 4 tanks where we can put them back.
Yes po.
So, ganun yun siya. And then, in our case, we let our clients choose whether they will take a package. It's when you say package, you just prepare your money, and then everything we will supply. We will install the tanks for you, bring the tanks for you, manufacture the tanks for you, bring you the feeds, the fingerlings, and we'll go back to you, mentor you until you say, okay, we can do it on our own. So, ganun siya kadali.
Just another perspective, ma'am. Hindi po ba too much or a lot yung 4 tanks po agad-agad kapag nagsisimula pa lang? Hindi po ba pwedeng parang isang tank muna, ganitong kaunting fish lang muna? Pwede po ba yon?
Actually, I approve it before. Like, clients would come, tell me that they can only afford 1 tank. But actually, through time and experience, masasuggest talaga namin na dapat 4 yung minimum. Kasi nga, the catfish, they don't grow at the same rate. So there are what we call as shooters, where we can put them in another tank, and then the medium size and the small size. So yung mga large size sa isang tangke, maha-harvest natin siya in 2.5 months to 3 months. So hindi pwedeng isa lang kasi saan natin ilalagay yung ibang sizes. Sa catfish kasi, isa pa yun siya sa pinaka-problem when you do the mud pond culture in a huge area. Kasi ang hirap-hirap, isa sa major cause ng failure ng catfish culture is yung hindi mo siya masasizing or masorting. Kasi kailangan mong paghiwalayin yung malalaki sa maliliit kasi kakainin nila yung maliit. So, if you do the culture in a small area, then you can just, do the sorting frequently.
Okay.
Oo, so yung ganon.
So, kailangan din po siya tutukan talaga na may pagka-high maintenance po pala itong hito farming.
Actually po, when it comes sa tutok, yes, matututukan mo. But in terms of labor efficiency, it's so easy because you know what? Yung 30 tanks can just be managed by 1 person. You only hire 1 person. It's unlike when you have your huge land for fish farming, ang dami-daming tao ang kailangan mong ma-involve. Like in my case, sa farm ko noon, when hindi pa ako gumagamit ng more fish than water technology, I used to have 8 to 10 people in the farm. Ngayon, family run na yung aming business.
And mas efficient po ba yon sa tingin niyo po?
Mas efficient talaga siya. And of course, yung mga kids ko, ano na sila ngayon? They are already, exposed to this kind of farming.
Yes.
So, hoping that one of them will enroll in fisheries in the future.
Na-immerse na rin sila sa ganong klaseng activity. So, let's see, ma'am, kung ano magiging future nila. Anyway po, now let's talk about one of your studies. You mentioned po doon yung potential ng Mindanao for fish farming. So, do you think this kind of setup po, especially doon sa more fish than water method, can be applied in other areas in the country?
Yes, of course. Well, I published, I think you have read my publication on the title of my publication was Mindanao, a haven for aquaculture, something like that.
Yes,
so I
po.
remember, I think I published that years ago. Talking about Mindanao as very ideal place for aquaculture. Totoo naman because like compared to Luzon and Visayas, mas less frequently na nabivisit kami ng typhoon. So, ang aquaculture kasi it's exposed to the weather, diba?
Yes.
So, ganon. So, in our case, sa Mindanao, for example, or in other parts of the Philippines, yung more fish than water technology is so appropriate. Kasi tayo sa Pilipinas, tropical tayo. So, our water is tropical. So, we culture tropical fish. But, when you visit some areas in the Philippines, yung kanyang water temperature is not tropical, pang-temperate. Once you do the culture of a tropical fish in a temperate water, expect na hindi ka kikita.
Ano nga po ulit yung key difference ng tropical sa temperate, ma'am?
Kasi yung atin dito sa Pilipinas, meron tayong tinatawag in terms of temperature. For example, if the temperature is like 22, 21, 20, 19,
Degree Celsius po,
degree
ma'am.
Celsius, it's so unwise, so impractical to culture tropical fish like tilapia, bangus, hito. Napaka-impractical niyan because the temperature affects the appetite of the fish, the survival of the fish, the growth of the fish, and the other parameters in the water, nakaka-affect yung temperature. So, you just imagine, you put this tropical fish like tilapia, bangus, or hito, put them in a temperate water, like yung mga nandun sa mga areas nandyan, kahit Baguio, Tagaytay, marami. Dito sa Batangas, meron. Sa amin, lalo na doon sa mga rebel camps, ang bababa ng temperature. So, good thing that we have this technology, the more fish than water technology, utilizing this fiberglass tank, because this fiberglass tank, meron siyang unique feature that is absent in all the culture facilities. Ano yun?
Which is?
The fiberglass tank has thermal insulation effect. Alam niyo naman siguro yung ano, 'di ba, yung greenhouse. 'Di ba, inside the greenhouse, the temperature is almost uniform day and night.
Yes.
Ganon din ang nangyayari sa loob ng fiberglass tank. Because the rule of nature, whatever heat that was absorbed during the day, same amount of heat will be released during the night. And that is what is happening in all of the culture facilities, not in the fiberglass tank.
Yes po.
Yeah.
But how do you see aquaculture helping in bigger issues we're facing, kagaya po sa food security and poverty reduction?
I always hold monthly seminar in the farm. And the title of my seminar, Catfish Culture, Scientific Culture, Unleashing its Potential for Food Security, Poverty Alleviation, and Improvement of the Health and Nutritional Status of Filipinos. Malaki masyado ang naitutulong ng food security, ng fish culture, ng aquaculture, particularly yung aking technology, because we can imagine, marami ang walang mga lupa para sakahin. So we will capitalize now on those who do not have land. Yung konti lang yung kanilang lot. 'Di ba sila yung tipong gusto ma-maximize yung production? So ini-imagine ko, if every household merong tangke, then meron akong mathematical computation yan eh. We can already surpass, in 1 year, we can already surpass the total aquaculture production by having these households do fish production in their own backyards. So malaki masyado ang maitulong niya sa food security. And then sa poverty alleviation naman, kasi we are promoting, I'm the Vice President of the Philippine Catfish Producers Association. Bago lang siya nabuo, that was just way back last year, November. And thanks to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, because it's their initiative, they are giving focus already on catfish. Yan yung wala sa matagal na panahon. So ngayon yung aming direction ng PCPA, no, yung aming association, is towards processing ng catfish. No longer the live market. Kasi for a long time, the catfish is sold live. Because, yun na nga, kahit tayo, hindi natin ma-imagine kakain tayo ng patay na catfish, knowing that this catfish was cultured in a very dirty environment. But this time around, we are promoting that the hotels and restaurants will use catfish in frozen form already, just like tuna, like any other fish.
Para mas malinis po ba?
Yes, opo. With the establishment of mga processing plants all over the Philippines, then we can hire a lot of people, so it can help alleviate poverty.
Very good input, ma'am. Down to our last segment po. For those watching who might be thinking, can I do this too? What advice would you give sa ating mga beginners who want to enter aquaculture?
Well, if you are thinking about, doing this thing, think first, if you have just square meter. You don't have to think about hectares. Just think about square meter. If you have how many square meters in your house, in your yard. And then next is, do you have a source of water? So as to the source of water, you can use Nawasa water, or you can do deep well water. And then third is just, think of a thing. What do you want? Why are you doing this? Is this for food production really? It's for family consumption only? Then definitely you cannot have the more fish than water technology, because it's not just for food production, it's really for livelihood. So, and when you take our technology, we will teach you how to do the marketing so that you will not have a problem with this.
And in your experience po, how come aquaculture is a sustainable business sa matagal na panahon po?
Well, aquaculture can be a sustainable business, or not sustainable at all, depending on how you carry this out. So if you happen to find the right technology, make sure that it is highly sustainable. It means that it's easy to operate, you can last, and then you can have good profit. Because it doesn't make sense doing the aquaculture without profit, and that's what is happening once you do the aquaculture in open field. Usually, yun yung problema kasi hindi mo masyadong controlled. Yung akin ngayon, ang ina-advocate ko ngayon is that do the aquaculture in a limited space, control the parameters, have a control with the waste, and then you will be successful.
How about naman po sa future ng aquaculture industry natin? Ano pong na-foresee nyo in the next 5 to 10 years na kalalagyan niya within the local landscape like sa Philippines and in the global sector po?
Well, the way I see it, the government has to really come up with technologies that are highly controllable. Alam natin that aquaculture has been done in the Philippines for a long time. Marami tayong nalalaman, mga cages, nasa lake, maraming mga mass mortalities na nangyayari because the environment is already so deteriorated. It's so, not ideal for fish culture. So, ang government should focus on maintaining the health of the environment, while doing the aquaculture for it to be sustainable. And then at the same time, come up with technologies that can be done in more controlled conditions.
Yes.
That's how I see it. And sa akin talaga, we have to capitalize on the people na wala masyadong lupain pero mayroong mga available spaces. We encourage these people to do aquaculture so that pag nasa gilid lang ng bahay mo, mas nasusupervise mo yan. At come up with technologies na hindi mahirap i-operate para ma-appreciate siya ng mga tao, both old and young.
So let's hope for a better support ng government natin, mas pag-engage ng mga tao, and ng pag-drive po ng buong aquaculture industry, particularly po doon sa catfish farming natin. So, Doc, thank you again for being with us today and for sharing not just your expertise po, but your journey towards this, kind of fish farming.
Yeah, fish
So,
farming.
yes, it's inspiring po na marinig na yung farming today, it can happen even without a farm na physical talaga and still make a real impact po. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much po talaga.
Thank you.
So, that's it for today's segment. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us on Freshly Brewed. This has been Bless Ogerio. Don't forget to catch our next episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on social media. See you next time.
And that wraps up our Freshly Brewed episode for today. Thank you for tuning in to Freshly Brewed. Stay informed, stay inspired, and make smarter choices every day with BusinessMirror. For the latest stories and updates, visit our website, businessmirror.com.ph, for a broader look at today's business. And follow us on our social media channels. Stay ahead, know more, and see you next time.